All right guys, welcome back to Exotic Car Hacks, and today, the time you've been waiting for. What do I think of the new Aston Martin Vantage? The new 600 horsepower driver's version of what Aston Martin has called the best Vantage yet is finally here. So in order to talk about the new Vantage, I decided to talk about the best last Vantage they built, which is right here, literally one of the hottest V12 Vantages ever built by myself, of course, because I built some incredible specs. And if you haven't been following the channel, then you know that I build all my cars from scratch. And this particular one right here was literally specced out with my coupe, which was British Racing Green on saddle interior. I didn't love the coupe as much as I love the Roadster, so I decided to keep this particular car. This is a V12, one of 150 cars built, and it is completely modified with a race titanium exhaust, 1886 forged wheels, and it is lowered on KW coils. It has every carbon option inside out, no livery, and in one of the best colors, the China Grass. So this is my V12 Vantage, and then as soon as I bought this car for over $400,000, I immediately get a call and it tells me, hey, we're launching the new Vantage. Here is a preview. And the first thing that comes to mind is, okay, first off, I feel like complete shit because the new interior makes this car look completely obsolete. And so that is going to be the focus of this video, talking about the differences about the new Vantage, the old Vantage, and what are some of the things that I think are pretty cool about the new one, and one of the few things that I wish they kept on the old one. So one very key thing that I think is important if we're going to be looking at Vantages more than anything else is to understand that Aston Martin does two things very, very well. The first one is they overprice the shit out of their cars. Their cars are completely not worth 50 cents of what they charge for them. So if this was a 400K car, I guarantee you this will end up being a 220K car at some point in the near future, and it will be exactly what it'll stay at for the rest of its life. So this is how Aston Martin cars are. They're overpriced by about 50%. That's why they depreciate so fast. The second thing that Aston Martin does incredibly better than anyone else is whoever hired their designer needs to absolutely get a raise. And I mean, not the designer himself can get a raise. I'm sure he's paid very handsomely, but look at the beauty of this car. Despite the fact that this is as boring as it gets as a car, it's incredibly fast. It's not as engaging as any other car here, but just look at it. It's so pretty. The way they play off of carbon, the curves, I mean, every piece of it comes together so flawlessly. Like, even at first you look at it and you're like, it's kind of weird here, or I don't kind of like this, or you may even say this wing is weird, it looks cleaner without it. And then at some points you catch certain glimpses of angles, and it just works so well in a way that I have yet to see on any other car. This is a soft top, which most of us, including myself, hate soft tops. Most times we think that soft tops are ugly, and I also think this car looks much better with the top down. But let's face it, this is absolutely beautiful even with the top up, and it still retains its classiness. I think Aston just does such a good job at designing some of the prettiest cars on the road. They're classy, slightly understated, and still yet get more thumbs up than a lot of other cars. I get so many thumbs up in this car that I don't get in a Ferrari or a Lamborghini. And I get so many people coming up to me and saying, what is it? It's beautiful. So this is what Aston Martin does, and I think the new Vantage is going to take this to the next level. A couple of noticeable things outside of the interior. I can tell you that, first off, the headlight design of the new Aston systems from the DB12 to the Vantage is probably the most improved concept on the Vantage. That is, I think, in my opinion, when they went to this design instead of the previous generation Vantage, which was slightly more angular, they killed the headlight, meaning that this isn't as good of a headlight as it gets. The new one still retains an angular design in front end. Absolutely mesmerizing, especially for a V8. And I thought, to me, that was the singular best variation of the new car. A right, very wide and very exciting front lens design that really takes it. The other thing that I thought was really good about the new car, it has a very 177 feel. And while the V12 here has a lot of angles that go in and creates this kind of gap and comes back out, the new Vantage does it in a more seamless way. And I think that's a really good thing too. It doesn't look like it's kitted out. It looks like the beginning of something really great. And remember, we're comparing here a V12 last edition Vantage to a new V8 base model, like first generation. So a lot can be improved, and very exciting platform for them to start. And then one other thing we noticed about the car, which I think is superb, is the rear of the previous Vantage, the non-V12 version of this, was quite ugly. The V12 really fixed that with this beautiful carbon diffuser and center mount exhaust. But there's so much to be said because the center mount exhaust can't really be seen here as exciting and can't be heard as well because of how it's positioned. I think with the new Vantage, they've corrected that by kind of taking this idea and bolstering the V8 to a very, very good level. So this was on the exterior. I think those are the few little tweaks. Now, it's not going to have as exciting as a platform as this because this is, again, the final V12, but you can clearly see interior components where they have completely corrected the interior. We have argued this interior was terrible. Everything from the overdone buttons, too many buttons to press, the vents are weird, every little piece feels awkwardly placed. But the new Vantage V8 seems to have a much better interface, much better nav, much better interface, giving it a very Bentley GT feel. This is an amazing progressive journey for Aston Martin, and I'm very excited to see what they pull off. Now, one key thing here about Aston that I think they're taking this playbook straight out of Bentley is they have figured out exactly how to basically bring in the driver experience with the tech in a user-friendly way. So when you look at, for example, how Bentley's been able to reshape the older Bentley, which was really geared towards a 60, 70-year-old with the simplicity of buttons, Aston has kind of done the same thing, except their buttons have always been complicated in the weirdest, worst ways. And now they've been able to take this interface and kind of the playbook from Bentley and made it streamlined in a way that just works. So I've become a really big fan of the Aston Martin lineup. I think the new DB12 is one of the best looking Tourers on the market, and the new Vantage is probably going to give Porsche for the first time a run for its money. I've always thought Astons were great value cars. I mean, you could buy a Vantage V8 for like 80 grand, and that's a lot of car for the money. These cars are certainly overpriced at $400,000, but with the new V8 Vantage, it's a pretty exciting journey for Aston Martin. Now, before we talk about values, here's a quick word from our sponsor.
GrailZ.com is a reputable online platform specializing in auctioning high-end timepieces. Known for its transparency and security, it provides a reliable way to sell watches online. Focused on smooth transactions, GrailZ ensures a secure environment for both buyers and sellers. Prioritizing genuine buyers, the platform offers a premium selling experience for sellers and great deals for buyers on luxury watches. Explore GrailZ at GrailZ.com for top-notch service in the luxury watch market.
Finally, one last component with the Aston Martin Vantage is going to be pricing and values. Where will they end up? How will we get there? As I've said, I think we're not going to see anything like what we're not used to seeing. And again, 50% off values is where cars are headed within a 4-year time stretch, which means that you could be buying a new Aston Martin Vantage for as little as 100 grand 4 years later once they're out of warranty. But in the meanwhile, if you've ever planned to hack an Aston Martin Vantage, unfortunately you're gonna have to wait, because we know that Aston Martin values drop significantly in the first few years they come out, especially in the first year or two, as dealer markup and discounts start to disappear and discounts start to pile up. And so you can expect beauties like these to no longer be something that you'll see on the road, rather sitting in showrooms like every other Aston Martin out there. Listen, there's already $80,000 discounts on DB12s. This tells you that even when they develop a very superior product than their predecessor, they just can't get the market to accept their high prices. So shall we see Aston Martin actually deliver a 200K car that retains its value? Highly doubtful. Are they gonna deliver a 200K car that truly rivals other 200K cars on the market? I think for the first time ever, Aston has finally done that. Well, that's been my review. Let me know what you think. Like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and let me know in the comments, do you think the new Aston Martin 600 horsepower Vantage will give Porsche a run for its money or not? Would love to hear your thoughts, and I'll catch you next time for Exotic Car Hacks.